In March of 2024, a student in Bengaluru paid 12 lakh rupees for a data science bootcamp, 6 months of Python, Pandas, machine learning, TensorFlow. She graduated in the top 10% of her cohort. She applied to 417 jobs. She received 3 interviews, 0 offers. 0 offers? Now here is the part nobody told her. It was not her fault. It was while she was learning to clean CSV files, the industry quietly stopped paying humans to clean CSV files. While she was memorizing scikit, learned syntax, AI started writing that syntax in seconds. She trained for a job that was evaporating underneath her. Today I'm going to show you exactly what changed, why it happened faster than anyone predicted, why some bootcamps may not survive the next 18 months, and most importantly, the 5 level roadmap that separates the people who get replaced from the people who become irreplaceable. This is not a video about the death of data science. This is a video about its rebirth. Let's begin. To understand why the system is breaking, you need to understand why it was built. Rewind to 2016. Harvard Business Review had just called data scientist the sexiest job of the 21st century. And for once, the hype was real. Every company suddenly had data. Almost nobody could use it. Banks had transaction logs, hospitals had patient records, retailers had purchase histories, all of it sitting in databases generating zero value. The person who could turn that data into decisions was rare, and rare skills command extraordinary salaries. Universities could not respond fast enough. A master's degree takes 2 years to complete and 5 years to redesign. The market needed people in months, not years. And into that gap stepped a brand new industry, the bootcamp. The pitch was irresistible: 6 months, one curriculum, a guaranteed pipeline into a 6-figure career. And here is what people forget. In 2016, in 2018, even in 2021, the pitch was largely true. The industry genuinely needed thousands of people who could clean data, build dashboards, train models, and ship results. Companies hired bootcamp graduates because there was simply nobody else to hire. But every gold rush has the same ending, and it is never the miners who see it coming. 3 things happened between 2022 and 2025 that changed everything, not gradually, all at once. First, the talent shortage became a talent surplus. Millions of people worldwide completed data science programs. The rare skills stopped being rare. Second, the 2022 tech downturn taught companies to do more with fewer people. Hiring bars went up and never came back down. And third, the big one, the tools learned to do the job themselves. Here is a question that sounds simple but is not. What did a junior data scientist actually do all day? Not the job description. The real work: cleaning messy data, handling missing values, engineering features, trying model after model, tuning hyperparameters, writing documentation. Roughly 95% execution, 5% judgment. Now hold that image in your mind, because I want to show you what happened to each slice of that pie. Data cleaning. Modern AI assistants can inspect a dataset, flag anomalies, suggest imputation strategies, and write the cleaning code in minutes. A human still reviews it. But one human now reviews what 3 juniors used to build: model selection and tuning. Remember grid search, days of compute, hunting for the right hyperparameters? AutoML platforms now run that exploration automatically and hand you a strong baseline before your coffee gets cold. And the code itself: Copilot, ChatGPT, Claude, Cursor, coding agents. An experienced engineer with these tools produces implementation work at a pace that was science fiction 4 years ago. But here is the part almost nobody says out loud. AI did not replace the data scientist. AI replaced the ladder. Think about what that daily work really was. It was not just a job description, it was a training program. Companies paid juniors modest salaries to do repetitive work. And in exchange, juniors learned the craft. 2 years of cleaning data teaches you how data breaks. 2 years of tuning models teaches you why models fail. That was the deal. Grunt work in exchange for mastery. AI just bought out the grunt work. And when the bottom rung of a ladder disappears, it does not matter how strong the ladder is above it. This is why entry-level postings are shrinking while senior demand stays strong. Companies did not stop needing data expertise, they stopped needing to grow it the old way. And this, right here, is the collision point with the bootcamp industry. Because what does a 6-month bootcamp teach? It teaches the bottom rungs, pandas, scikit-learn, matplotlib, the exact layer of work that AI compressed first. A boot camp in 2025 teaching the 2019 curriculum is not selling education. It is selling a ticket to a platform where the train no longer stops. Let me show you what I mean with a single ordinary task. The task. A retail company wants to predict which customers will churn next month. The 2019 version. A junior spends day 1 exploring the data, day 2 handling missing values and outliers, day 3 engineering features, days 4 and 5 trying logistic regression, random forest, gradient boosting. The following week tuning, validating, documenting, 2 weeks. One person, one model. The 2026 version. A mid level engineer describes the problem to an AI assistant. The assistant profiles the data, flags the leakage risk in one of the features, drafts the pipeline, and runs an automated model search. 90 minutes in, there is a strong baseline. And here is the crucial part, the part that decides who has a career. The engineer now spends the rest of the day on questions the AI never asked. Is next month even the right prediction window for this business? What does the retention team actually do with the churn score? And can they act on it in time? What is the cost of a wrong prediction in each direction? Should this run as a nightly batch job or a real time service? And what happens in month 3 when customer behavior shifts and the model quietly degrades? 2 weeks of work collapsed into one day. But notice, the day did not get emptier, it got harder. Every hour that automation freed up was refilled with judgment. That is the real shape of this disruption. Not humans versus AI, execution versus judgment. And judgment is exactly what a syntax focused curriculum never taught. Let me make this concrete with a thought experiment. Two candidates, same job interview, same problem. Candidate A spent 2 years memorizing the toolkit, every scikit-learn function, TensorFlow syntax from memory. Ask for a random forest and the code flows out of their fingertips. Candidate B cannot recite a single API from memory. But watch what candidate B does with the interview problem. They ask what the model is for, who uses the prediction, what a false positive cost to business versus a false negative, whether the data pipeline can even deliver features fast enough for real time scoring, what happens when the model drifts in production, what the monthly cloud bill looks like at 10 times the traffic. Then they use AI to generate the implementation in 15 minutes and spend the remaining 45 minutes on architecture, cost, and risk. Who gets hired every single time? Candidate B. Not because they are smarter, because they are operating at the layer the market now pays for. Here is the pattern, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Engineers once wrote assembly language by hand, then compilers automated it, and the engineers who thrived moved up to systems design. Then frameworks automated boilerplate, then cloud automated infrastructure. Every wave in computing history has done the same two things. It automated implementation, and it rewarded the people who moved up one level of abstraction. AI is not an exception to this pattern. AI is the largest instance of it we have ever seen. So the toolkit became a commodity. Fine. But that creates a second crisis, one that is much more personal. Because if the skills are common, how do you prove that you are not? Put yourself in a recruiter's chair for one afternoon. 200 resumes for one data role. You open the portfolios, Titanic survival prediction, house price regression, M&S digits, customer churn, credit card fraud, movie recommendations. Then the next portfolio, Titanic, house prices, MNIS, churn, and the next, and the next. The code changes. The story never does. Now add the twist that makes 2026 different from every hiring market before it. The recruiter knows with absolute certainty that any of these projects could have been generated by AI in an afternoon. A certificate says you completed a curriculum. It no longer says you can do anything the curriculum promised. That is the credential crisis. It is not that certificates became worthless, it is that they stopped being evidence. So, what still counts as evidence? What is the one thing AI cannot fake on your behalf? Things that exist in the real world. An open source contribution with your name in the commit history, reviewed and merged by strangers who had no reason to be kind to you. A deployed system with real users, real uptime, and a real story about the night it went down. A technical blog post that other engineers actually cite. a conference talk. A production incident you resolve. A cost optimization with a number attached to it. Notice the pattern. Every one of these is verifiable, public, and expensive to fake. That is the new resume. Now let's do the brutal math on the old one. $15,000, 6 months of your life, lost income while you study. In exchange, skills that AI compressed, and a portfolio indistinguishable from tens of thousands of others. The market is not rejecting education. The market is rejecting generic education. And that distinction is exactly what separates the boot camps that will die from the ones that will not. Because here is the plot twist of this entire story. Some programs and some people are not just surviving this shift, they are getting rich from it. Every disruption produces two groups, casualties and beneficiaries. So, who is winning right now? Winner number one, the domain expert. Imagine two engineers with identical Python skills. One knows Python, the other knows Python and knows how hospitals use predictive analytics to reduce patient mortality, knows what HL7 data looks like, knows why a false negative in sepsis prediction is a lawsuit and a life. Who gets hired? Who gets paid double? AI can generate code in seconds. What it cannot generate is 10 years of understanding how an industry actually works, its regulations, its failure modes, its politics, its data dirt, healthcare, finance, cybersecurity, energy, manufacturing, supply chain, insurance, agriculture. Context is the moat. Domain knowledge is the one asset that appreciates while everything else commoditizes. Winner number two, the architect. The job title of the last decade was data scientist, a person who builds models. The job of the next decade is closer to systems architect, a person who designs the machine that builds and runs the models. Streaming pipelines, vector databases, retrieval systems, multiple AI agents working together, monitoring, governance, security, latency budgets, cost ceilings. Individual models became cheap systems that are reliable, safe, fast, and affordable. Those became the premium product. Winner number three, the AI native operator. This is the person who treats AI the way a pilot treats autopilot. They let it fly the straight lines. They take the controls for takeoff, landing, and storms. And crucially, they never stop watching the instruments. Not threatened by the tool, multiplied by it. And what about the bootcamps themselves? Because not all of them are casualties either. The programs at risk share a profile. A curriculum frozen around pandas and scikit-learn. Portfolio projects pulled from the same 5 public datasets everyone uses. Instructors who left industry years ago. And a placement statistic on the landing page that quietly includes any job in any field. The programs that will thrive look completely different. They teach students to build with AI assistants from day one and to audit what those assistants produce. Their capstones are deployed systems with real users, not notebooks. They bring in working engineers, not full-time trainers. They partner with actual companies for actual problems. And they specialize. A healthcare data program, a fintech machine learning program. Instead of promising everything to everyone, same industry, two completely different products. The market is not killing boot camps, it is auditing them. Notice what all three winners have in common. None of them compete with AI at what AI does well. All of them own the layer above it, judgment, context, and design. So the final question is the only one that matters. How do you become one of them? Starting from wherever you are today. Here is the roadmap. 5 levels, in order. Do not skip. Level 1, fundamentals, but with a different purpose. Python, SQL, statistics, machine learning foundations. Yes, you still learn them. But the goal changed. You are no longer learning to type these skills. You are learning enough to judge what AI produces. To catch the confident wrong answer. To know when a model is lying to you. Fundamentals are no longer the product. They are the quality control. Level 2. Production skills. Cloud, Docker, Kubernetes, CI/CD pipelines, data engineering. A model in a notebook is a demo. A model in production is a career. The gap between those two sentences is where most of the salary lives. Level 3. The AI native stack. Large language models. Retrieval augmented generation. AI agents. Model context protocol. Vector databases. Evaluation and guardrails. This is the 2026 equivalent of knowing pandas in 2016. Early enough to matter. Standard soon enough that you cannot skip it. Level 4 System Design, Distributed Systems, Observability, Reliability, Latency, Governance, Cost. This is the level where you stop being someone who uses AI and become someone who designs with it. This is candidate B's home turf. Level 5. Pick one industry, go deep, become irreplaceable. Healthcare, finance, energy, defense, manufacturing, retail, insurance, agriculture. One domain. Its data, its regulations, its failure stories, its language. Levels 1 through 4 make you employable. Level 5 makes you unreplaceable. And if you are evaluating a bootcamp today, this playbook is also your checklist. Ask them one question. Which of these 5 levels do you actually teach? If the honest answer is only level 1, you are buying a 2019 product at 2026 prices. Walk away. So, will 90% of data science bootcamps really disappear by the end of 2026? Honestly, nobody knows the exact number, and anyone who claims they do is selling something. But the direction is not in doubt. The work is moving up from typing to thinking, from implementation to architecture, from generic skills to deep context. Data science is not dying, it is molting, shedding the layer that machines can now do and growing a new one that only humans can. The student from the beginning of this video, the one with 417 applications, her story is not over because everything in the playbook you just saw is learnable. Starting today. Starting from a laptop, the gold rush is over, but gold rushes were never really about gold. They were about who showed up early to the next thing. You are early. Act like it. If this changed how you think about your career, hit like. It genuinely tells the algorithm this matters. Subscribe to Kritya AI Labs. Every week we break down AI, data science, LLMs, agentic systems, and the future of technology careers with zero hype and full honesty. And answer this in the comments. Are bootcamps dead or just evolving? The best